Last year, Saban sold Power Rangers to Hasbro to the surprise of some, and maybe not surprising to others because we had seen some of the declining TV ratings and toy sales. So we probably felt that this was inevitable, that it was going to be passed off to somebody else at some point in time, and Saban would have to cut his losses eventually, right? So that, I think, was probably surprising, like I said, to some, not so much to others. But I think the one thing that was a lot more surprising was the Super Sentai series that ended up being finally adapted into a Power Rangers series, and that was Tokume Sentai Go Busters, a Super Sentai season that they had previously skipped in favor of other shows. So that's one thing that caught me completely off guard, was them finally adapting the series that I would say is mostly revered by Super Sentai fans, at least here in the West. I don't know all over the world, but most people that I've spoken to about Tokume Sentai Go Busters, they really like it. So it's a series that I believe is universally liked, at least, again, by fans probably more in the West. I don't know about in Japan or in the East anywhere. I don't know how they feel about it, but it seems to be pretty much liked. So it was surprising that they finally decided to go ahead and adapt that series, because that's something that had never happened before with Power Rangers. They had never gone back more than, a couple years to finally adapt the series. So I don't know if that was Hasbro's decision or if that's something that Saban had decided to do prior to selling the brand over to Hasbro. Who knows? We'll just say, for the sake of argument in this video, that it was Hasbro's decision, right? And from what I've seen, since Hasbro has acquired the Power Rangers license, they seem to be much more willing to take chances on things that maybe Saban wasn't willing to or just didn't want to do, right? So I have the utmost faith in how they will handle the brand from here on out. And as we've seen with Power Rangers Beast Morphers, which seems to be, for the most part, as far as I've seen, seems to be, I've heard much more positive things than negative about it. So to me, it seems like the general consensus is that it is a good series. It's well written. People like the toys. As far as I know, I don't know how the toy sales are going or anything like that, but it seems to be, for the most part, liked much more than it's hated, if it is hated. So it got me thinking, though, what series will potentially be adapted next? Because this is something that I do get asked sometimes, and it's something that I have thought of. Which series will be adapted next into Power Rangers? So what do we have to pick from, though? Well, we have Tokuger, we have Zyuohger, Q Ranger, Lupin Ranger versus Pacha Ranger, and the current season of Super Sentai, which is Real Soldier. So I was looking at these shows and I got to think, and I was like, which one is most likely to be adapted next? Which one do I speculate will be adapted next? I'll get to that, but let's go down the list here. Now, Tokuger, I think, is a likely candidate, even though I know that some people don't care for the Super Sentai series. I would submit to you RPM. If we look at RPM, that's a series, obviously, was adapted from Goandra, which is completely different from how RPM ended up being. So I think that they could take a series like Tokuger, and really, if you get the right writing staff behind it, you could really turn it around and maybe make a serious story out of it, because there's a lot of people that feel that Tokuger, at least from people that I've talked to that really, really hate it, they think that it's super silly even for Super Sentai standards. So, but again, I think that you could turn that around. I think that if you get the right writing behind it and you present it the right way, that it could do well. Now, one of the reasons that Tokuger was skipped over here, I think, was, if I'm not mistaken, this is from what I understand, was that they felt that maybe the trains wouldn't sell too well over here, even though they sold very well in Japan. The sales figures were fantastic, and I do get that trains are probably a bigger deal over there in Japan than they are here in the US, but I think that the merchandise would probably still sell well even over here, because if we look at things like, Thomas the Tank Engine and things like that, people like trains over here too, so I think that they would do all right. So I think that one's a likely candidate. I'm not saying that that's the one that I think will be adapted next, but I think that it's one that you can't completely dismiss or count out. And as we've seen before, look, you can never say never with any of these shows, because we've already seen one show that was passed up quite some time ago and it got adapted, and that was Go Busters. So another one that people have mentioned to me is Zyuohger, and I don't think that's the one they're going to adapt next. personally. Although, again, we can't dismiss the possibility that it could be. The reason why I don't think Zyuohger will be adapted next is because then you would be doing something a little bit repetitive, right? You have this season, which is Beast Morphers right now, which has an animal motif to it. It's right in the name, Beast Morphers. As we know, Zyuohger is an animal motif series, so I don't think that doing that 2 years in a row would be good. I think it would be repetitive. I don't think it would be good for the toy sales. I think that that's one that they should probably do a little bit later down the line, not directly after Beast Morphers concludes. I don't think that that would be the right approach. So the next one would be Q Ranger. Now this one is the one that I think is most likely to be adapted. And the reason why is because it's been a while since we've seen Power Rangers do anything in space. Maybe it's been about 10 years at this point, or maybe over 10 years at this point, since we've had any kind of ties to space at all, or if at all, or that they've done anything in space at all. The last one I could think of before that, and I could be wrong, somebody could correct me in the comment section below, I think the last one with any kind of even space reference was SPD, which stands for Space Patrol Delta. Not necessarily that they were based out of space, because a lot of times it was here on Earth and things like that where a lot of these things took place, but this is one that's going to be more entirely based in space, and I think the time is right for that. And considering what was already done with Dino Charge, with a lot of Rangers being around, I think that they could handle it. I think this would be the ideal one, in my opinion, to adapt next. Now, the next one after that they could potentially adapt would be Lupin Ranger versus Pacho Ranger. Now, I don't think that this is one that they should adapt next. I think this is one that actually they should leave for more of a anniversary season, and the reason for that is because of the dynamic of it. The whole, team versus team dynamic, something that of course was original in Super Sentai, had never been done before, and it would be a nice way for Hasbro to establish themselves. If they wanted to go ahead and adapt this one next, it would be a nice little kind of, hey, look, we're Hasbro, we're here, we're doing things different with Power Rangers, we're presenting things that you've never seen before in Power Rangers, even though it's something that of course is coming from Japan because it's being adapted from the Super Sentai series. If they really want to take that chance right off the bat, they could, but I think that it would be better for them to just kind of get used to handling Power Rangers first by doing just more of the regular, I guess, or I should say the more archetypical type of series, and just go ahead and get used to it's kind of like, just trying on jeans over and over again, break them in a little bit first, and then just do that, and then maybe move on to something that's a little bit more ambitious, which would, in my opinion, be Lupin Ranger versus Pacho Ranger. So I think that, of course, again, can't deny that it's a contender. Don't think it's the one that they should go with next, though. Now, Real Soldier is one that they could potentially also adapt, because by the time that Real Soldier goes ahead and wraps, Beast Morphers will be done by then as well. So it is possible that they could go ahead and start adapting that series next. I think it would be a little bit too soon, and because of the motif of Real Soldier as well, which is kind of, what is it, more of a dragon-like, dragon slash, kind of dinosaur theme. I think it's too closely related. I can't remember if it's I know somebody's going to correct me in the comment section below. I can't remember if it's a dragon theme or a dragon and dinosaur theme. I know somebody's going to correct me. But either way, if it is a dragon thing, I think that's a little still too close to the dinosaur theme. And considering that Dino Charge wasn't that long ago, but then again, maybe it could. Maybe that they could go ahead and adapt that one, because, yeah, I think now at this point, there's been 2 shows in between Dino Charge, so yeah, I guess it could be a potential contender for the next one, the next series to be adapted into Power Rangers. So maybe Real Soldier would be a good fit after all, but I think that the one that they should go with personally is Q Ranger. I think that one, just because, again, because of the space dynamic, because of something, and because it's mostly set in space, it'll be probably the true space series of Power Rangers, because it'll be mostly set in space. I think that would be a nice way to go. Like I said, you got a nice variety of Rangers there, and you're still doing something that, again, you get a lot, but then you'll be able to kind of have something distinct in between some of these other ones before maybe doing Zyuohger after that, or maybe even Lupin versus Pat, or maybe even Real Soldier after that. Who knows if they decide to go that route. Who knows how they're going to decide to go ahead and choose these shows. It'll be interesting to see, but that's just what I think. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Which series do you want to see get an adaptation for Power Rangers next? Which one could you do without? I know a lot of you will probably say Tokusatsu is one you could probably do without ever seeing adapted, but I wouldn't mind seeing it adapted, especially just to see how they would handle it. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Oh, and just a quick update here for those of you that are going to be tuning in to the Toys That Made Us live stream. I wanted to let you know I went ahead and pushed it back to 3 a.m. So 3 a.m. Friday, which is going to be 3 a.m. Friday the 15th. I had to push it back because I forgot that the episode does not premiere until it becomes midnight in the West Coast, which is Pacific Standard Time. So 12 a.m. Pacific Standard Time if you're in the West. If you're here in the East, it's going to be 3 a.m. that I'll be doing the live stream, where I'll be doing a live reaction and commentary. Like I said before in the previous video, it's not something that I will be just showing on the channel. I'll just be kind of reacting to it and doing a live stream, and maybe doing kind of a little bit of a running commentary slash reaction to it. So you guys will be able to engage in the chat. And then afterwards, once the episode is done, you know, I'll probably be on for maybe another half hour more, and then I could go ahead and do a little bit of a Q&A if you guys just want to talk for a little bit about it. If you guys want to watch it with me, you know, queue up your Netflix and watch it at home while I'm also watching the episode, that would be great too. So I hope to see you all here, 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday 15th, which is going to be later on tonight for me. Hope to see you there, and until next time, y'all know how it goes. The hunt continues. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a like, share, and comment below.